Cool. Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Doing pretty good today. How are you?
Doing good.
Excited for this workshop.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Just gonna let everyone know, yeah.
There we go.
And, how much Roblox experience you got?
Not much actually, but seems interesting. Would be good to learn to teach some kids.
Cool. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, because I designed it. I was kind of hoping people didn't have too much experience. Let me see. Whoa. Oh, I got more people. Okay.
Oh well.
Okay. Yeah. So that's actually smaller. Hey, how's it
Yo,
going?
what's up, everyone?
Yo, what up?
Hello.
What
Good,
up?
good.
All right. So, yeah, just to warn you, we're only gonna, we're not gonna be going over like, yeah, you should be able to teach it by the end of it, but we might not go over everything. But I did prepare an example. Um, but yeah, we might not go over everything I said, just to warn you.
Okay.
But yeah, should I wait another second, or do you guys want to see the example, or?
I guess we can boot stuff up now while we're waiting for people.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna share my screen. And yeah, so, and I'm going to publish this code too. So not that this code is super whatever.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, so hopefully you guys can see it. So we're building an obby, and you can see this part's changing colors every second.
Wait, are we supposed to be able to see something? Because I can't.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're building an obby in this example. So an obby just stands for like obstacle course.
Right.
So this, we're gonna build like a little part that like makes us move from like one thing to another. So it transports the character. And then we have levels, so you can see, and we also have a leaderboard too. And then if I touch the first part, I don't do, in the example, I don't do it on every part, but if I touch the first part, you can see it should go red and then disappear. But then, and we also have these coins. So every time I collect a coin, you can see numbers go up. And I wonder what I did to that. Well, we'll figure it out. And then we also build a teleporting service as well.
Cool.
So get into this part. So I think that should last for like an hour or so, but that's a lot to cover in one session. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We're supposed to be in Roblox Studio, right?
Oh yeah. Roblox Studio.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Roblox Studio. And then Roblox only runs on Mac and PC. Is that right?
I think so. It'd be crazy if it did run on Linux, but I've never tried it.
I was actually messing around with Linux earlier this week, aka yesterday, because okay. So I sent my laptop to get repaired, and it's gonna take like 45 days, right? So my little cousin let me borrow his laptop while I was going to Berkeley for a bit, because I went back to Berkeley to hang out with a few friends, and sorry, so I had to hack the Chromebook to be Linux, and so you could actually, I installed Among Us on it, and it runs with a .exe. It's just, you have to download this thing called Wine and stuff, but like it works.
Yeah.
And there's like other stuff that like will make it run. It's really cool.
Oh wait. So wait, you can run Roblox on it.
Yeah, in theory, yes.
Ooh.
You just have to figure it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, through Wine. Wine often lets you run Windows programs on Linux systems.
I see.
So
I did a bit of research, and it turns out this thing says that Roblox's anti-cheat doesn't let it get run on Wine.
Oh, really? Huh.
and that there's
That's
and
lame.
that there's no plans for a Linux release. So
Okay.
yeah,
makes sense.
for now it seems like
Sucks.
it is just strictly Mac and Windows,
Okay.
which is sad.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, this is good to know though. Where's-
So, so yeah, so this is the so what we're gonna. I might have overpromised a little bit in the intro, but what
Oh,
we're
it's
gonna
all
be
good.
building in this class is a obby, and obby just stands for obstacle course. And I've got multiple levels right here, and we've got a part that's changing colors on the first level. You saw that. And then we go here. You can see when I touch this, it goes here. It changes levels. So now I'm on level 2. I also have this leaderboard. So you can see right now I have 0 coins. So when I touch this, oh yeah, now it's going red. So you have to wait a second. It goes red, then disappears. And then in like 5 seconds, it'll reappear. So go over on touch events, which are used a lot. And then this clones coins. So a lot of kids wanted coins. Well, cloning was cool. So you can see now I have 13 coins, but every time I collect a coin, it creates a new one. And they're all being cloned in this folder, level 3 right here. And then the last thing that we're going to build, and we're going to do this all together, is we're going to build this teleport thing. So we'll learn how to make a little noise and like teleport it. And I think we can get this done in like an hour. And I'm kind of I'm not a Roblox expert, so I want to state that up front. I just took a course on Udemy. But by the end of this, you should know like the basics of Roblox. And I'm going to publish this and put it on Discord, so you all will be able to see all the code. Cool thing about Roblox is that it's all written in Lua. And Lua is like a really, really good beginner-friendly language. And I didn't know anything about Lua before I got started. So yeah, so with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and open up your roadblocks and create a new project. So I'm gonna do that right
Let's
now.
sign off here. Thanks, Noah.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks so much. Thanks you guys for showing up. And then Nick also has been working in Roblox and Lua for quite some time too. So if you run into any issues, Noah, you and Nick can explain, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Nick knows way more than I do.
But I think the way to learn it is to teach it. So I think the way what you're doing is perfect. You'll learn it even better by teaching it now. So this is great.
Oh yeah. No, I just building this like helped me. I learned a few things because I ran into like a lot of bugs. But oh crap, I didn't show you guys. Okay, okay, so this sometimes happens to me on my computer. Let me quit this one. Okay, so now so you want to go into File New. So when you open up Roblox,
Yep.
you should see base plate. And just if you have any questions, just stop me.
So are we supposed to make a new base plate or a new obby?
We're going to make a new base plate. So we're going to start from base plate.
Okay.
All right.
Just because, so I'm going to talk a lot about the pitfalls that I've ran into. These as well. Okay, so it just created it just created a new base plate. It didn't like take me into the new, but yeah, these themes, like avoid these theme parks, because like what kids they'll just, that's all play, just to warn you. So like any of these starter things are just all play. So just avoid them. Unless you want your kids to play, which is fine too. But yeah, so you want to create a new base plate. So click on base plate and let me know when you guys have the base plates set up.
Wait, quick question. I think I'm running my CAPTCHA isn't loading because when you log into Roblox Studio, there's like a CAPTCHA that you get in.
Yeah.
Mine is just blank.
it's, I don't, oh yeah, that's got to be the Roadblock server
Okay.
or something.
Yeah, I was having weird authentication issues like 10 minutes ago at the end of my last session, so it
Go
may just be unlucky. You can try just restarting, the standard like turn it off, turn it back on again, see if it fixes it. Because it's weird that we're not all having the issue though.
Yeah. That's weird. Yeah. I'll figure it out though. Thank you.
Cool. Should I continue?
Oh yeah, go for it. Go for it. Continue,
Okay,
please
cool,
do.
cool.
I'll catch up.
So yeah, just a little bit about the views. So these are the tabs. So when I say like changing tabs, this is what I mean. So right now we're on the home tab. And then if you go to view, like sometimes kids won't have this set up. So you want to make sure that Explorer and property view are checked. The Explorer view like will have all your parts of your game and like everything that makes up your game. And then the property view is for like little properties in your game. So, and then in the workspace will contain all your parts basically. So I'm just gonna go and delete the base part. So I'm just gonna, you can right click and click delete, or you can hit the delete key. So I'll just right click and delete. And then I'm gonna go into the model tab and I'm gonna create a part. And one thing to note about parts is that in the model tab, you can scale a part, and you do that by just moving the red dots. And in Roblox, there's an X, Y, and Z axis. The Y axis is up, so that's just something to note. So you can scale a part, you can move a part. So you just use these arrows to move. You can rotate a part. And this frustrates people sometimes. If this is checked, or if this is checked, so if I did like 45 degrees for rotate, it will only let me rotate at 45 degrees. So if they can't rotate it exactly, just be sure that these aren't like checked. So so you can rotate a part, and yeah, so those are like the three things you can do. And you can also move a part around as well with this select tool. But we're going to, the other thing you can do is you can position a part from the thing. So I'm gonna position the part, and I'm gonna position everything 0, 0, 0. So that'll put it in the center of the screen. And one thing to note too is that when you're positioning parts in Roblox, it's positioned at the bottom center. So the origin is, so if we use this thing right here, and I click on bottom, I'm gonna zoom out of it, and I'm gonna get out of the move tool. So it's like the origin, or where it's positioning it, is like right here. And Roblox also uses an imaginary length called studs. And I was reading on a forum that like 30, it's like, I think it's like about 10 inches, like in the real world is like one stud, but I'm not 100% sure. But we positioned our part at 0, 0, and I don't do this with kids, but you can also exactly size your part. So right now it's 1 stud high, but I want my part to be 20 by 20. And then I'm gonna rotate this a little bit and make it, so I'm hitting the control key and moving the mouse and then zooming in and out. So I'm just trying to get to the top of it, just so I can see it like at a normal view.
Oh, wait, Noah, can you go back to your part? So
Yeah.
under properties, you went to part, and then what did you customize exactly?
So in position, I did 0, 0, 0.
Right.
And then in size, I did 21, 20. And yeah, and you can hit this arrow key too, because like some kids will have like trouble with commas. So that arrow like helps out a lot. So if you select your part in the workspace and hit F, it'll just zoom it in. So I should have done that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So,
Oh, that's cool that you have a text search field, so that makes things go faster.
yeah,
That's cool.
definitely. Definitely. And then one thing to note too is that because we're building an obby, we want this part to be anchored. So if you don't anchor your part, like it'll just it'll just basically disappear. So if you type in the word anchored, or if you scroll down you'll find this checkbox right here. So you want to make sure your part's anchored as well. And then you want to, I always tell kids to rename their parts. Otherwise, you'll just see like part, and like you'll not know in the project like which part is what. So I'm gonna rename this part base, just so we know what it is. Am I making sense or?
Wait, let's see. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. So I always name the parts just so they know. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a spawn location. So it's this little, so if you click on the model tab and then spawn, that'll create a spawn location right there. And then I think it positioned it right in the center for us. Oh no. So yeah, so we're going to position it right in the center. So we're going to say 0 for the X and 0 for the Y. So that'll put it right in the center of the part, because and then one for the Y because it's one stud up. So that's going to put it in the center. I don't do this exactly with the kids because they're not as concerned, but we're just going to make ours look good. And then if I click play, and I should have gone over this too. What a spawn location is it's basically a place where the player can start in the game. So if I click play, my player should start right there. So I'm going to click play, and I'm just going to test it out.
Is it also where you die and get reborn and
Exactly.
respawn? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm right here, and because we anchored the part, I can walk around it like so. I think my spawn location's a little big, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. This isn't necessary, but yeah, so I'm going to make mine 5 by 5, and that'll just make it a little bit smaller. So the base part will look a little bigger. So when I'm teaching like Roblox, the first script I usually have kids write is a script to change the block's color, because it's really easy to do. So the way you so we're going to add a script to this part, and it will just constantly change the color from like red to blue. But before we do that, I just want to go over how to change the part's colors manually.
Yeah. Wait, Noah, how did you get the spawn option in the first place?
Oh yeah, so it's right. Oops. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It's let me get this back. It's on the top. So if you click on model and you go to the top right, screen's a little big, but you might see like a little ninja star.
Okay, wait, where do you click model exactly? So wait, when you click on base?
Right here.
Model is right.
Yeah, so it's
I see what you mean. Okay.
The model, and then.
Got it, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Spawn. Okay, and then how did you readjust spawn location again?
So I looked for position, and I set it to 0, 0, and then 1 for the Y.
Okay.
And then for size, I just set it manually here, 5 and 5. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to.
And then you did 515. Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna rename this spawn location start, just so we know that this is like where the player will start. Okay, cool. So yeah, so now we're gonna add a script to our part, and please please ask questions. So the way you do that is you hover over it and you click this plus icon, and then you click on the script. So I'll do that again. Select the part in the workspace, click the plus icon, and then select script. And that'll create a script. And then I always have them name the scripts as well. And I'm going to call this script color. And I think I'm zoomed in. Can you see the script itself?
Yep.
Okay, so this will print hello world. This is just like Python hello world. So there's a few things to note. One is how to create variables. So the way you create a variable in Roblox is you don't have to type in the word local, but I always tell them to. So I say local, then the name of the variable. So we'll call it age, and then you set it equal to 3. It's just like a normal variable, just like Python or any other language. But there is one special type of variable in Roblox called a table, and it's used like everywhere. So I'm going to show you how to create a table in Roblox because without it, like a lot of the other variables won't make sense. So I'm going to say local enemy. This would be like for like an enemy sprite. You would never create this in an actual Roblox game, but you use these curly braces, and it's a lot like a JavaScript object. And then you type in the name. So let's say like damage, and you can set that equal to 30. And then you can say like health, and you can set that equal to 100. And then you can print enemy sprite.damage, and that's a table in a nutshell. So it's just like a JavaScript object. You just have these key value pairs. And if I'm not making sense, please let me know. But so like so one of the built-in tables in Roblox is script, and that's a super important one. And we'll go over that in a second. But if I were to run this, so I'm going to run this right now. You can see 30 is printed at the bottom here. And if I go, to, if you don't see that, go to, why is that? Oh yeah, go to view and click on output, and you should see that. Okay, so now that we have that going, what we want to do is we want to change the color of the part. So I'm going to
Wait,
create.
Noah, how did you run that again?
Oh, no problem. I don't know why it's just auto folding, but let me go back to this. Why is it doing that? It's funny. But yeah, you want to go into, you can click this play button right here, or you can go into home, and there's a big play button right there.
Okay, I see. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. So, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable to store our part, and we're just going to call it base part. Or I'm going to call it base part. You can call it what you want. And we're going to use this built-in script variable .parent. And the way this works is that there's this built-in variable called script, and the parent of the script is the base part itself, because the script lives in the base part. And then if we want to change the color of the base part, all we have to do is type in brick color, and then we type in brick color .new, and then we can put in like a pre-built color. So we'll do really red. And then if we play that, the brick color should be really red. So I'm going to play that just so you can see. And there we go. So now it's really red. So then what I do is when I'm teaching, I'll say like, if you've ever used Scratch, like this is kind of like a forever block. So we'll create this while true do. So this is just like a forever block in Scratch. And what you want to do is you want to, you always, I got this from Nick, you always want to wait. So we're going to wait 1 second. So this function will basically pause the code for 1 second. And the way you can comment in Roblox is you do 2 dashes. So I'm going to say wait 1 second. So in this code, this while true do will execute forever because it's always true. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the brick color. So we're going to say brick color equals new brick color dot new, and then we'll use one of their colors. So we'll use baby blue. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along. And then we'll do another wait for a second, and then we'll change it back to base to red. To really red, so new, really red. So yeah, so this will wait a second, change the brick color to baby blue, wait another second, and then change it to really red. This is just like a really good like first simple script to use. I think because there's just not too much going on, and they don't even have to like know what a function is. So and you can kind of use like some of the blocks they might have learned in Scratch. So now I'm going to click play, and this should go from really red to baby blue. And we'll try that. So yeah, so you can see it's going back and forth. And then I'm just telling you what I do. Yeah, you guys don't have to copy this at all. But yeah, I usually have them play with the colors, and I have them play with the weights so they can see the effects of that. And then this is just for your knowledge, but you can do if you want to do like if the kid isn't like happy with the colors that are there, you can do a color 3 dot new or dot from, let me see, from RGB, and you can specify an RGB color. So you can say like we'll do a purple. So that should be pretty purple. So red, green, and blue. So I'm doing 100 for the red and 100 for the blue, and then I'm going to wait another second, and I think this should work. Kind of live coding this, so we'll see if this is right. Yeah, so you can see it turns purple. So some kids will want the custom colors and whatnot. Okay, so that's looking good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start on our teleporter thing to make. So we're going to create a part that will transport our part to the other part. So basically, it'll basically hold the player and transport the part. Now, one note about this, and maybe this is just true for me, whenever you're building like one of these elevator parts, yeah, I think you have to make it at least 5 by 5, at least if you're going in the horizontal direction. So be sure the size of the part is at least 5 studs by 5 studs wide. So I'm going to create another part. So I'm going to go to the model tab, and I'm going to create a part right here. And I'm going to rename this part mover. And one thing to note too is that roadblocks will sometimes automatically create these welds. So you just want to delete the welds, and that's just like basically glue. So I'm going to rename the part to mover, and we're going to position the part. So I'm going to position it. So I want it to be at the center. So I'm going to position it at 0Z. And for X, because I know it's at positioning it from 0 is in the center, so I want it to be 10. And then I know this part is in the center as well. I want it to be about 13 because I'm going to make this part 5 by 5. And then I want the Y position to be 0, so they're both lined up. So 13, 0, and 0. And if this, like I said, if this isn't making too much sense, let me know. So, and with, obviously, with kids, they don't really care. So, and then I'm going to make it 5 pixels wide by 5 pixels wide. And let's see. And then for 1 stud up, I think that's even. It doesn't look super even, but I think it's even. And then for the color of this, I'm going to go to my model tab, and I'm going to give it purple just because I can. So this will be like a purple part. So that's looking good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this. So we're going to duplicate our base part so that we know where we're going to. So I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to select it. I'm going to do a Command D, and that'll duplicate it. And it automatically created a weld. And we have the color script, and we don't want the color script, so we'll delete that as well. And I'm going to rename this part base 2. There'll be a better name for this later.
Hey, Noah, real quick, can you go back to when you created the model? Because when I clicked on model, I couldn't see anything. But let's see. So after you like turned everything to purple, red, and blue, and that change of the color, that script.
Yeah.
And so I have the code running, or so it's still running, but then how did you create the model after that?
Oh, you have to stop. That's a really good point. So anytime you're
Okay.
coding in Roblox, you have to whenever you add parts to it, you have to stop the game.
Okay. So I stopped it, and then so then after I stopped, that multicolor cycle, I'm at model, and then did you create another part? Is that right?
Yeah, I created yeah, so I'll just redo that because
Yeah.
that's not too bad. So I created another part called mover, and we're gonna and I renamed it mover, and it automatically creates a weld. So then I'm gonna go into position, and I want it to be positioned 10, and I know it's gonna be 5 studs long, but it's going to be positioned from the center. So 10 plus 7.5. So you can just do math in these, and then 0 and 0. And actually, I don't want it to be 7.5. I want it to be 13. So 13, 0, and 0. So 13 for the X and 0 for the Y. And then for the size, I want it to be 5 by 5. So that'll give us a nice little platform to transport on. So let me know if you're there.
So I have what you have, but my platform is on the right side. How do I like rotate it?
You just it's probably just control. So I bet if I can just do this. So if you just hit the control key, it'll and you move your mouse, you'll rotate it. So I'll rotate. So yeah, you might go in different directions, but it's all perspective. Cool, cool. So we've got our mover part. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to clone, or we're going to duplicate our base part. So I'm going to do Command D, and that'll create a copy. And I'm going to rename this base 2, and we'll come up with a much better name for this. But I'm going to delete the weld, and I'm going to delete the color. And then I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to say position, and we're going to move it. Let's try 40 in the X. That looks good. And then 1 in the Y. So or 0, oops. So if you do something silly, you can always do Command Z, 0 for the Y. So that should make the part even with this. So now they're all on the same Y axis. So they all have the same height. And the way I can test that out is I can go to model and move, and I got to select the mover. And if I move this, they should collide. Yeah, so they do collide. So that's cool. So one thing we want to
Wait,
do.
how did you? Oh, never mind. I see model, right?
It's in model, yeah. So I selected the model, and then I went to the move tab and clicked move, move, and then model, and then I select that.
Oh, okay.
So one thing we want to do is we want to see, right now it's positioned at 13, but we want to see like how far we need to transport this to get the player on the other side. So right now I'm looking at the position. So if I scroll down to here to position, what's cool is I can use the move tool. I can move it, and as I move it, I can see the numbers update. So right now I'm at 18, 19, and looks like about 27 is like where we need to be as far as the player goes. So I need to go from 13 to 27. It doesn't have to be like exact. But I'm gonna write down 27 so I don't forget it, because I forgot it while I was doing it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a little script that will move the part from 13 to 27 back and forth. So let's do that. Are you guys ready? Okay.
Can you go back to my base 2? Like what are the specs of the base 2 again?
No problem. So if you go to base 2, the position's 40, 0, 0. And then the size is 2120.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so we've got our mover part and we got our base 2. One thing, and sometimes I forget this, is you want to make sure base 2 is anchored. Because if it's not anchored, it'll just collapse. Oh, because we copied it, it will be anchored. So whenever you copy it, all the properties get copied over. But you always want to make sure it's anchored. Okay, so this is good. We've got our mover part. So we're going to need to add some fancy stuff to our mover part. The first thing we're going to need to add is a body. I notice you can type in here or you could search, but so you want to add a body velocity. And that will allow you to.
Wait, how did you pull up that? Sorry, how did you pull up that little menu?
So you click on the plus icon. So you hover over the
Oh,
poll,
I see. Yeah.
and then you click on the plus icon.
Okay.
And then you do. Then you search for body velocity. And this is really important. So you want these max force variables to be like ridiculously high. So just make them 4 million. That should be enough. So, and then you'll notice that it's starting a velocity of y of 2. And we just want it to be 0 because we want our code to control the direction that it's going. So we always want it to be 0. So 4 million for these and 0 for everything else. And then we're going to create a body gyro, and this will stabilize everything. So we're going to create a body gyro, and then for here, we want all these to be 4 million as well. So I'm just going to copy this 4 million number. So max torque should be 4 million, and then the max force should be 4 million, and that should be enough to transport the player. These are, so body velocity is what will actually do the transporting, and then body gyro will stabilize the part in the physics engine.
How did you create body gyro?
So you click on the plus and then search for body gyro.
Okay.
And yeah, let me know let me know when everyone's there, and then we'll go on to the script writing part.
And then so for body gyro, what are the size and properties of body gyro?
Body gyro max torque 4 million for all the X, Y, and Z.
Oh, okay.
And just for fun, well, we'll do that later. But yeah, we'll do that later. So okay, so we've got our body gyro. Now we're ready to add our script. I'm going to call this script move. So I'm going to create a script. I'm going to rename it move. And there's a few things I'm going to create. So the first thing I'm going to create is a local variable called mover part. And that's just going to be script.parent. Then I'm going to create another variable called direction. And I'm going to set it equal to right. And then I'm going to say, we're going to do another while true do, which is like a forever block. And this is something when I was doing this an hour ago, like I ran into. Always make sure you put the weight in there. So you can make it a really small weight if you want. And then the other thing that we're going to do, so this will basically control the direction, but I forgot to do this, so I'm sorry about that. We're going to say mover part dot body velocity dot velocity, And we're going to set that equal to a vector 3. And a vector 3 is just x, y, and z. So it's just a way to set a direction or a position. We're going to say vector3.new equals 0, 3, 0. So that will basically move the part. It'll start the part moving 1 and 3 studs in the x direction will be like the velocity. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So we've got our while true do. So now we can say if the direct. So now we can actually let's just run that just to make sure it works. So we're gonna run that. So the part should just go all the way to the right and just crash in. And that didn't work. So that's kind of funny. So I made a mistake. So I said 3 in the Y position. We wanted 3 in the X position. So it was going up because we did it 3 in the Y position. So so now it should go to the that should go to in the X position. So let's make sure that's working. And you can kind of see it is, and it's just going to crash and just keep moving in there. So that's good. So we're testing it out a little bit. So now we want to write an if statement, and we want to say if the direction equals right and the mover part dot position, which is the where it's at, dot x is greater than or equal to 27, right? Which was where we moved it to. Then we want to start changing things. So we'll say direction equals left, right? So we'll get a new direction. And then we're going to copy this line, this mover part body position, and we're going to move it right here. But instead of 3, we're going to say -3. So that'll make it go the other way. So let me know when you guys have that done, and then I'll click play. And what should happen is it should go right, and then it should go left, but it'll just stall out when it goes left. So I'm going to click play, and let's see what that does. And here we're off. So it's going right, it goes left, and it should just stall out. Yeah, so it does. It just stalls out. So the last thing we need to do is we need to write our write the if left. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this if statement. So we're going to copy and paste it. And we're going to say if left and the part is less than or equal to 13, which was our X position where we started. So if it's going left and it's less than or equal to 13, we're going to go right, and we're going to change this to +3. So now it should go right and left. And if we did everything right, the player should just be able to be transported over. So let me know if does that make sense what we just did? Yeah, I'll give you guys a second to copy and paste it over. So yeah, let me know when you're good, and no pressure. Cool, cool. Yeah. One of the things that I really like about Roadblocks is the syntax. I mean, this is so readable. Like if, and, then. It's kind of like how people think. So that's really nice.
This is Lua, right?
This is Lua, yeah. Yeah, this is, I should say Lua, yeah. It's one of the, it's got really nice syntax, I think, for beginners. And I'd say one of the advantages it has over Unity is that we don't, like, notice we didn't even write a function. We're just writing like procedural code, which is crazy. So you don't have to know classes or anything like that. So are you guys ready? Or no? And I can copy and paste this in too. So
Is Roblox like definitely lighter than Unity? Like in terms of just like memory and everything?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's lighter. I would just say it's like you can only build like a 3D Lego game with Roblox, or like there's limitations to it, you know. Because Unity is like you can do like anything you want, but you don't have like this fun like setup that you have with Roblox, you know. Kind of like yeah, it's kind of like Pie Game versus Scratch, you know. Like you can probably do anything you want in Pie Game, but with Scratch, it's just easier to get started.
I mean, you'd be surprised what you actually can do in Roblox. Like if you've ever like checked out some of the like most popular games, um they like made a full Pokemon game a while ago. I think I talked about that in the camp.
Yeah.
With like actual like Pokemon malls that didn't look Roblox at all. It looked like it was built in Unity, but it was Roblox. Got taken down for obvious reasons. But yeah, but it's definitely better to do Unity if you're not going to stick to the format. Like Unity is definitely better for that. But I mean, you have a surprising amount of freedom in Roblox if you chose to use it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Like I mean, you can do like amazing stuff. Like it's not it's a damn good platform. Yeah. So now if I click play, I should be able to. We'll test this out. We'll test this out. Yeah. So now I should be able to walk on it, and you can see it transports me over. So that's cool. So that was our level 1 for Roblox. So the next thing I want to do is I want to color these parts, and I want to group some stuff together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color the parts first. So I'm going to make this base part. I'm going to make this color red. We'll say, yeah, we'll say. So we're going to make it this color, and we're going to make the spawn as well this color. So yeah, so that is, and let's see, so that's plum. So we made the base and the starter part plum. So I'm going to select both of these by hitting shift and selecting them. And then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go make a group for a model. And then I'm going to rename that model level 1. And I'm going to put my mover in level 1 too. So this is like a handy way that you can like group parts together. And you can even write model scripts as well. But now I can move the whole thing if I want. So I can select this whole group and move it. So that's really handy. You exit out of that. And one thing, so next thing we're going to tackle, and I should have said this, is teams. And teams are kind of like levels in Roblox, at least as far as the obby goes. And they're used for determining like where a character or player can spawn. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our start spawn location. And you always want to make sure neutral is unchecked. So uncheck neutral, and that means, I think that means that they can't, it's not like a neutral team color. So not anyone can spawn on it. It prevents people from just randomly spawning. And then you want to look at allow team touch, allow team change on touch. And because this is our first one, we want this to be false. So make sure this is unchecked. And then the other thing you want to look for is team color. And we're going to use the plum color. So we're going to find plum and make sure that our team color is plum. So once you have all that, let me know, because the next thing we're going to do is insert teams. Does everyone have that? So team color plum and uncheck neutral and allow team change false.
Okay, so first of all, I'm pretty tired, so I might just be making some really basic mistake, but I'm still on the the platform move script.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna share my. Nah, that would stop your screen sharing. Right. So
I can allow multiple screen shares. Actually, let me.
Right. So I have the direction being set to right by default, and body velocity dot velocity being set to a new vector 3 with -3. And that all works. And also I have if direction equals right and move apart dot position dot z, because I'm doing it in a different direction, is less than or equal to 46 because mine is farther away. Then the direction is left and it changes the velocity to +3, and that works too. But then I have the second one, if direction is left and move apart is greater than 13, which is the original position, then direction is right and body velocity dot velocity is back to -3, but that one just doesn't work.
Can I let me look at your code because it's hard for me to see it. So can you share your screen?
Right. Okay.
Right. Oh, so less than, greater than, they're reversed. -3.
Wouldn't a possible bug be that you have direction right and direction left, but you're doing mover part position dot z, and since you're doing z, z is up and down, right?
Oh no, why?
Z is
Oh, sorry, my
Y is
bad.
up and down in here.
Okay.
Isn't left and right just a string for comparing the things? Like it doesn't actually have anything to do
Value.
with the velocity.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
you're right.
it's a flag. Mover part dot position dot c. So what happens when you play it?
Well, this part works. This part does not. Let me just play the thing real quick. So the platform starts moving. It'll go to that one. It'll start coming back. Now 13 is actually like right around here. It's actually even before this platform just because I was debugging it, trying to get it to work, but it just keeps going, goes into here, smashes into it, keeps trying to move. If I go to here, I start getting pushed back.
It's interesting. So let's go back to your move script.
Right.
So this direction equals less. And it's 13.
Yeah, 13 is right right here, I think.
If it's less than 13. Do you think you have your less than and greater than signs mixed up?
I probably do. I'm quite tired. Well, no, if it's greater than
those are right.
13, then like this is 14, and 14 is greater than 13, so it should trigger, right?
What about
Sure. Can we actually look in the properties and see that and see the position property?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wait.
Oh, negative 14.
yeah, you're in the wrong direction.
Right, it's negative.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, negative 13. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is the.
Wait, 14. Okay. Sorry. I've had quite a long day.
No, it's
It's all good,
cool.
man.
I appreciate it.
Just play this really quick, make sure it works. And my computer's running out of battery. Okay, let's see. Not responding. All right, let me just disable BD Pro Shot. That should speed this up. All right, so now it's gonna go to there. It's gonna bounce back. Hooray! All right, thank you.
Nice.
Yeah. Stayed up past midnight, got up at 7 a.m. Had classes all day until now. All right, thank you for troubleshooting my very basic negative positive problem.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Yeah, so yeah, so we got level 1, right? So we've got our start, and just to get you, did you get the team color or the? Let me scroll because it's a little bit easier. Did you set the team color to plum? Okay, cool. So neutral on touch. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our model, and you want to go into services. So yours might look like a little gear, and you want to click on teams and insert, and that'll insert a team. And you get this new teams folder. So just go over services, and then you would see teams. But so now you want to add a team.
Doesn't seem like I have a services button in the model tab.
It might. So on a smaller screen, it might you just might see these gears. You might not see services.
Teams insert.
Cool.
Right.
So now we're going to add a team. So you click on the plus, and then you click on team, and then whatever you name the team. So I'm going to click on rename. I'm going to call it level 1. Is what it'll show up on the thing, on the Roblox UI. So this is the only one, because this is our first level. We want auto assignable, and then we just want the team to be plum, which I think is right there. Yeah. So make sure the team color is plum. So then I'm gonna duplicate this team. So the way you duplicate is you do Command D. So I'm gonna select it in the workspace if I can. Oops. And I'm gonna do Command D, and I'm gonna rename this to level 2. And we're gonna change this team color to deep orange, just so it's easy for us to remember. And we're gonna uncheck auto assignable. So that means that they can't just land here. They can only, we only want them to be able to land on the starting spawn. We don't want them to be able to land on the next one. So now I'm going to create another spawn location. I'm going to put it right here. So I'm going to click on spawn, and I'll just move it right here. And what color did I use? So I used deep orange for this. So I'm going to make this one deep orange as well. So I'm going to make everything deep orange, just so that we can remember what it is. And then you want to go into, we'll scroll down a little bit. So this one we do want to allow team on touch. We want to uncheck neutral. And then team color, we want deep orange. And then for base 2, I'm going to make that color deep orange as well. I'm on players, that's why I can't see it. So, I don't know why it's doing this. So then we'll go base 2. Oops, yeah, my computer's messing up. No big deal. Yeah. So yeah, it's this trackpad. It's funny. Okay, so let's try again. So base color. Actually, man, everything's messing up. Well, try to get this fixed. So sometimes this happens. We'll click that button, move it to the top. There we go. And I'm going to make this, oops, I don't want that. Try to make this color deep orange as well. Okay, so now that part's, now base 2 is deep orange. They're both deep orange. Okay, so we got our spawn location. I'm going to rename the spawn location level 2. Just to reiterate, the important thing is that it's unchecked for neutral and allow team touch. And then if I go here, this is deep orange and unchecked for auto assignable. And then I'm going to make level 2 spawn location size match the size for this. So I'm going to make it 5 by 5. And let's also make sure the position's right. So the position right now is 2 in the Y, so I want it to be 1 because that'll make it flush. And then we can also make it in the center as well. So we can do position, and we can see that the position is 40 and 0. So that's right in the center. Okay, so what this will do is it will allow me to touch this spawn location. And then when I die, I'll be spawned into that spawn location. So I'll demo that. And if I'm going too fast, please let me know. So got my spawn location going. And I've got my transport. And you can see I'm on level 1 right now. So if I touch level 2, I'm now on level 2. So I'm gonna kill myself, not literally. And then when I respawn, I'll be at level 2. And you can see I'm on level 2. So that's cool. So now we have levels. The cool thing about levels is you don't need code to write levels. So the next thing I want to do is I want to group all these. So I'm just going to right click and click on group. And I'm going to rename the group level 2. And I'm going to put base 2 into level 2 and then just rename that base. And that way everything just stays nice and neat. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to create 3 parts that will kind of bridge to the next level. So we're going to do that now. So and these will be added to level 2 a little later, or the level 2 model. So be sure part is selected in your workspace, and then click on part. And then we're going to make these, I'm just making everything 5 by 5. So I'm going to make the size 5 and 5. And then I'm going to position the part. So I'm going to look for a position. And what I know is that this part's positioned at 40 and its size is 20 by 20. So if I go to this position, so I know 40, and then I need to add 10 because it's in the middle. So that'll be 50. And then if I add, so probably 57. So maybe that's a little too far. So maybe 55. And then we want to be 0, so it's flushed, and then 0, so it's in the center. And then the other thing we want to do is we want to make sure the part is anchored. So one shortcut is you can click on this little anchored button right here, and that will check anchored right there, or you can just check it like that. And we're just going to call this, we're going to name this part bridge 1, so that it'll just be bridge 1. And then, yeah. So then I'm going to duplicate this part. So I'm just going to do a Command D. And notice it auto created a weld, which is like glue. So we're just going to delete that. We're going to rename this one to bridge 2. And then we're going to position it. And right now it's at 55. So we're going to say 55 plus 7 and then 0. And then we're going to do the same thing for bridge 3. We're going to do a command D. And notice it's welded. So if I try to move it, just to let you know, like I'll be moving the whole thing. Oops, well, I guess not. I guess it deleted the weld. Well, doesn't quite matter. So I'm gonna not do this one perfectly. So we'll say 0 and maybe 72. Oops, it's a little too much. Maybe 70. 70 looks good. Okay, yeah, so you don't have to be perfect with these games, you know, it's just a demo. So that looks good. And because we duplicated it, all the parts should be anchored. So I'm just gonna select the parts and make sure they're anchored. And they are, so that's really good. And now I'm gonna move all these parts into my level 2 because this is part of my level 2 model. And there we go. So this is looking good. Next thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do this on one of the parts, but you could do this on all the parts, is I'm going to add a script to where when the player touches the part, it's going to turn red and neon, and then it's going to disappear for 5 seconds and then reappear. So I'm just going to add that to the first part. So I'm going to add this to bridge 1. So click on the plus, click on script. We're going to rename the script disappear. And then we're going to delete this. Okay, so the way you create a function in Roblox is you type in the word function. It's kind of like JavaScript. And then you type in the name of the function touched. And then this function is going to take in the part that was hit. So I'm just going to call this hit part. And then it auto completes the end for you. And then we're also going to create our variable for the part. So I'm going to create a variable for it. So I'm going to say local bridge part equals script dot parent. And then what I usually do is I just hook everything up. So I'll say bridge part, and then the bridge part has an event. And you notice this little lightning icon. So it has a touched event. And then when you want to call a function, in Roblox, you do colon, and then the name of the function, which is connect, and then we're going to pass in the touched thing right here, and then I'm just going to print out, and every part has a name, so I'm just going to print out the name, just so you can see what happens. So I'm going to, when I touch this part, you should see the name of the part appear in the output window, and you'll kind of see, it'll be a little funny. So I'm going to go here and click play, and I'm going to turn around, and we'll ride a little escalator. So I click that, and then I'm going to jump on this part. And you can see like left lower leg, left leg, right foot. Those are all the parts of the player. So that's what's hitting the part. So that's kind of important to note. So we don't have to do it for this, but I'm going to show you how, because later on it is important. So we're going to create a service. So Roblox has services, and I want to stop the game so that what I do save. So I'm going to create a variable called player service. And this is used to, this is used for a lot of things, but one of the things we can use it for is to get, to make sure that a player hit a part. So I'm going to put in players right here. So I'm going to say local player equals player service get, is it get character, get player from character. Yeah, so it's get player from character. So what this will do is it will it will take a part and it will try to find the player that's attached to it. So what we can do is we can say hit part dot parent, and that if this returns a player, it means that a player hit the part. If it didn't return a player, if it returns nil, which is basically Lua's version of null or void, that means that did not hit a part. So what we can say is if player, then do something. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print, just to make sure this works, player hit part. And we're just going to test this part out. So we're trucking along. Go here. And then hopefully, yeah, so player hit the part. So that's working. That's good. So now we want to do a bunch of things to the part. So the first thing we want to do is we want to save everything. We're going to need to reset the part after we do everything. So I'm going to create a variable called reset brick color. And I'm going to set that equal to bridge part dot brick color. And I'm going to create another variable called reset material. And I'm going to set that equal to bridge color, brick color, bridge part dot material. And material is basically, you have all these options. So you can choose wood, grass, and all this other stuff. And you can set it manually. Like you don't have to do it in here. So now we have the material saved. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say bridge part dot material, and I'm going to say enum dot material, and I'm going to set it to neon. So that'll make it like really bright. And I'm going to say bridge part dot color, or brick color, I'm sorry, I'm going to brain fart. And we're going to say brick color dot new, and we're going to say really red. So it'll turn bright red for 1 second. So we're going to wait 1 second, make it turn bright red, and then we're going to make it disappear. So then we're going to say bridge part dot transparency equals 1. So that'll make it completely transparent. Then we're going to say bridge part dot can collide, and this basically allows things to collide with other things. We're going to set that equal to false. So that'll make it disappear and not be able to collide. And then we're going to wait 5 seconds. And then we're going to say bridge part dot can collide equals true. So this is the reset part. And then bridge part transparency, bridge part transparency equals 0. So that will make it non-transparent. Then we're going to reset the color. And the reason you want to do this reset is that if the player dies and then they respawn at, like, say level 2, and you don't reset, then the player won't have a way of getting back. So we got to help the player out. So we'll say brick color equals reset brick color, and then we'll say brick material equals reset. Yeah, reset material. And that should work. So let's go ahead and play and test this out. So, and if you're building like I'm making this not challenging with the 1 second, but if you're building it, I don't want to say professionally, but for yourself or for somebody else, you definitely want to make it lower than a second. Oops, so it didn't register a touch event. So you can see it disappeared, and then we'll wait a second, 5 seconds, and hopefully it reappears. Okay, so that's cool. So now we've got that part of our obby done.
Right. Right, so I have an issue with the local player equals player service get player from character function. It's
Yeah.
saying it can't get a parent from nil.
I'll put a parent for nil. Can you share your screen? I'll stop
Right,
sharing. Mine.
yes. Right, so I have this.
Oh, it's because you called touch. So you have to on line 22. You have to pass in the touch function, but you can't call it.
Oh,
A function is like a variable in Lua.
okay. See if it gives the same. Right, okay. It's not giving that error anymore. Hopefully it works.
This is trippy.
Yay.
Oh, there we go.
Nice. Yeah, I like
Thank
your
you.
obvious. Yeah, it's really cool. That's way more challenging. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna share. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me see. Okay. So that's looking good. And okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're gonna create our third level, and this level is going to be the level with I call it the coin forest, but we're gonna create like a little coin forest with this. So um, so now I'm gonna click the plus. Oh yeah, I'm gonna click part. No, actually, I'm gonna duplicate. So I'm gonna duplicate base 2. So I'm gonna do Command D, and then I'm gonna drag base 2 out into the workspace, and then we're gonna change the color. So we'll make this. Oops, I think I dragged the wrong one. So actually, let me just instead of doing that, let me just create the part. I think that might be easier. So I'm gonna create a part outside of it, and it's colored green. And I'm just going to use the move tool, and I'm going to move it all the way out here. And the reason I'm moving it out is because I'm going to make it the same size. So I'm going to say size 20 by 20, and I'm going to move it in a little bit closer. And then I'm going to go into position and make sure it's at 0 for the Y and 0 for the Z, and then I'll say 85 for the X. So that looks good. So 8500, but yeah, please customize it to your game. And I'm gonna rename this to base. So that's our base part. And now that, I'm sorry, I did this wrong. So I wanna actually make this bigger. So I'm gonna say size, and I'm gonna say, I wanna make it 50 by 50. So 50 in the X and 50 in the Z. And the reason is that this is going to be our coin forest. So we just want it to be a little bit bigger for the coins. So I'm going to say 108. Oops. And let's actually make that, because that's a tough jump. Let's make that maybe 98. So yeah, we'll make it 98. That should be good. So this will be our coin forest. One thing we need to do too is we need to anchor this as well. So I'm going to make sure it's anchored. And then I'm also going to add a spawn location. So I'm going to click on my spawn, and I'm going to move this over here. And we don't have to make this super perfect, but I'm just going to position it at 1. And we're going to rename this to level 3. And we'll go ahead and just do all the stuff for the spawn location. So I'm going to make this team. I'm going to rename it to level 3. We don't want it to be auto assignable. We're going to make the team color forest green. And then for the spawn location, we're going to scroll down to here. It's a little bit easier. We're going to uncheck neutral, allow team on touch. And then for the team color, we're going to pick forest green right there. So that should allow us to go to that one. So let's go ahead and test this out. Just make sure this level works. So I'm going to go ride the ride. Okay, so now we're on level 2. Cool. And level 3 works. So that does work. So that's good. So just testing it out. We go crazy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create our coin. That'll be the first thing we'll do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a part, but I'm not going to add any type of part. I'm going to add a cylinder part. So I'm going to click cylinder. I'm going to rename this to coin. And I'm going to move it. I don't really care. I just want it to be on the green part. I don't really care what it is. So I'm going to zoom. Oops. I'm going to zoom in. So I can hit D and it'll move it to the right. Then I can zoom in a little bit. I want it to be up a little bit. And then I'm going to resize the coin. So right now it's 4 in the X position. I want it to be like 0.3. And then we'll make it 4 in the Y and then 4 in the Z. Actually, that's a little too big. Let's make it 2 and 2. So that's a good size coin. And then let's make it more of a coin color. So we'll make it yellow. And then we can change the material here. So we'll give it a sandy material. So that'll be our coin. And that's looking good. But one thing that I like to do, because it's easy to do, is make it rotate along the y-axis. So I don't know if you guys have ever played like Sonic or something. Sometimes the coins spin, I think. So we're going to make a spinning coin. But before we do that, we need to make sure the coin is anchored so it doesn't just fall to the ground. So we'll check anchored so that it stays up. So now I'm going to add a script to coin. And I'm going to call this script rotate. And this will rotate the coin. And we're going to say local coin equals script dot parent. And we're going to say while true do. So we're just doing another while true do because we just want it to be constantly rotating. And I'm going to say wait 0.01 seconds so I don't forget. And then if I go into coin dot orientation, which is right here, that controls like how it looks or how it's positioned in the thing. So we just want to say plus equals vector3 dot new 0, and we want to rotate along the y-axis because so this is the y going up and down, so we want to spin around that y-axis. So we're going to say, I usually like to say 20 and 0, so that should give it like a nice little rotation. So I'm going to click play. So, and you should see the coin spin a little bit when I turn. So I'm going to check this, and you can see it spinning. So it's got like a nice little spin to it. So our coin's spinning, that's good. Next thing we want to do is we want to create our leaderboard. So leaderboards are like really cool ways of tracking whether a player has something or not, or like points in a system. So we're going to go to server script services because we just want to create a script and we don't need it attached to any part or anything. So So we're going to click this plus icon and just create a regular script. And I'm going to call this script leaderboard or leaderboard. And I'm going to delete hello world. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a function called on join player. And it's going to take in a player. And then we're going to say game get service players dot add player added connect, and then we're going to pass in that function on join player. So this function will be called anytime a player is added to the game. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create our leaderboard. So we're going to say local leaderboard equals instance dot new, and then we want to create an instance of a folder because we're going to be storing multiple things. And then we're going to say leaderboard dot name, and you have to spell this right or otherwise it'll blow up leader stats. Then you want to say leaderboard, you want to assign the parent to the player. So the player will own the leaderboard. So that's good, but now we need to create our coins for it. So I'm going to create another variable called coins, and I'm going to set this to an instance of int value. And we're going to say coins dot name, and we're going to call this coins, or yeah, coins like that. So this is what will show up on our leaderboard. And then we're going to say coins dot value, and we're going to say that we have 0 coins to start off with. And then coins dot parent, and the parent is the leaderboard. So this will add a leaderboard with coins. Does that make sense? Or
Yeah.
okay, if it doesn't, let me know. So I'm going to click play, and let's see. Yeah, so you can see coins is showing up now, right there. So that's looking good. So now what we want to do is every time we hit a coin, we want the coin to be destroyed, and we want to add one to the leaderboard, just so that we know like how many coins we've hit.
Attempt to connect failed. Past value is not a function.
Let me see what you got. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you did the same thing with the.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if that works. Sweet, you got it. So yeah. So the next thing we want to do is we'll add a point. Man, that's challenging.
Oops, that's impossible.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to test that part yet.
No, that's cool.
Let's see. Model move. There we go. Should work. Test play. Maybe I should just really quickly.
We'll speed it up for sure.
And that's still impossible. Yeah, I agree that this Roblox is compared to Unity, it's much simpler, like learning curve and stuff.
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah, spinning coin. Yeah. Oh, and this does not change to level 3. I
Oh
probably
yeah,
forgot to change the level no 4 screen. Let's see. Spawn location, 4 screen, team color deep orange, 4 screen. There we go.
cool.
That should work. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So yeah, so next thing is we're gonna do an on touch event. So I'm gonna do a script. I'm gonna rename the script touched, and we're gonna do a function named touched. It's gonna take in the hit part, and we've already done this. So I'm gonna copy and paste from our disappear script. So I'm gonna go and copy this this game service, and I'm gonna copy this this if statement just to save some time. So let me know when you have this, and also yeah, I also need to create a part variable, so I'm going to do that too. So I'm going to call this coin equals script dot parent, and then we're going to say coin dot touched connect touched. So yeah, so this script will, I think you know what it does, but yeah, it'll basically fire anytime anytime a player touches the coin. So does that make sense? And I know I skipped a little, and I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
But
makes sense.
so the first thing we want to do is we want to say coin destroy. So we're going to destroy the coin. That'll just kill it, and then we're going to say player dot. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Messed up before. Yeah. Okay, I was doing that wrong. Player dot leader stats, and then the name of our leader stats coin, which came in our just coming from this right here, this name coins. So coins plus equals 1. So when we hit the coin, it should add 1 to our leaderboard. So tracking down the road. Let's see, I'm gonna hit the coin. Oh, okay. So this is a mistake I made. So one thing to note is that these aren't like real numbers; they're like objects. So you have to say dot value.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little annoying. So okay. So now I've got the. I can see it's looking good. Okay, so now what we want to do is we've got this coin. It's okay, but what we want is we want to clone the coin. So the way we can do that is we can put the coin, or we can drag the coin to script storage. So it's going to live in server storage. So it's going to live here. So now the coin, when we go back to our base plate, should be gone. So it's no longer there. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can clone it. But we don't want, we want only the clones to appear. We don't want the other stuff. But before we clone it, let's go ahead and group everything into level 3. So I'm going to right click on
Right.
the spawn location, and I'm going to rename level 3, and just put that in there. So now everything's in level 3. And then whenever you clone something, especially if you have a lot of it, you want to add a folder that you can clone it into, so that you know like all the clones are like in this folder. That makes it easier to count and easier to kill them all off if you want to. So I'm going to rename the folder coins. That'll just, and you can add folders directly to the workspace too.
Right. Let's see, folder. Okay. Level 3. Add folder. Coins. There you go. Then gotta move the. Oh, and this has a weld on it. What do welds even do, anyways?
They're kind of like glue. They like glue the part to each other. They're used like say you wanted to make like an airplane or something, like you'd use them to like build like an airplane in Roblox.
All right, I see.
So we've got our coin, we've got our level 3, we got our base. Now we're going to add a script to that, and I'm going to rename the script coin clone. But feel free to call it. And then okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to get our coin, our template coin, from our replicated storage. So I'm going to say local temp coin, and we're going to set that equal to game get service server storage, and then you have to type in brackets exactly what the name of this is. So I called it coin, so I have to type in coin. So that'll get the coin from the that'll get the temp coin. And then we want to create another while true do. And I'm just going to wait 0.01 seconds in my while true do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say why if, yeah, so I'm going to say if the game dot workspace, now actually I can do the script dot parent and coins folder get children, and if I do this hashtag in front of it, this basically counts the number of items that are in your table. So this will return a table, and this hashtag basically counts the number of items.
So it's like number of.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I'm going to say if it's less than 15, then I'm going to clone coins.
Right.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say local coin equals temp coin clone. That'll call the clone function. And I'm going to say coin dot parent equals let me see, script dot parent dot coins. So we're cloning them into our coins folder. So all the coins are going to live there. And then the coin dot position is going to equal, let's see, script dot parent dot base dot position plus vector3 new. And then this is where it's a little funky. There's a math.random, and we're going to say from, in the X position, we're going to say from -20 to +20. So, and then we're going to say 5, we'll say 4. So it's gonna always be at 4 in the Y, so that's up and down. And then we're also gonna do this math.random for the Z as well. And that should clone it in a random position. And you always have to set the parent when you're cloning, otherwise it won't appear in the space. So if we do this, in theory, it should just be cloning coins. Let's try it out. It's probably going to crash. Maybe, we'll see. Yep, okay, so yeah, so it's cloned the coins. So that looks pretty good. So they're all rotating and they're all spinning pretty quick. So that's cool. Even does a nice little shadow for you.
Maybe mine is named something different. No, it's called coin.
Yeah, so when I hit the coins, it adds to the leaderboards and they reclone. Let me see what's going on.
Oh, wait, are the server storage brackets case sensitive?
Yes.
That's probably the problem then.
Oh, cool.
Let's see. Base is not a valid member of model workspace.level 3.
This is not. Did you?
Oh, mine is just called part.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll get you.
All my other ones are called base. Okay, let's see. And okay, so there are coins everywhere, but my base has disappeared.
Let me see what's going on.
All right. So I got this. I got this script.
Coin. Your base has disappeared. Okay.
Here we go. Yep, base is gone again. Oh, and I found.
Which is the base?
The one like way in the distance where there's now only a small spawn.
Okay. So let's go.
Coins seem to be everywhere.
Let's go into
well.
Okay, now I see what's going on.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure why. That's crazy. Let's see. Let's look at that script again. So temp coin service, coin script parent base. And the base is there.
At the very start. Like it disappears a few seconds into like a second into the game.
Is it anchored? Well, it's got to be because you already.
Oh.
Cool. That's challenging. Oh, awesome.
The coins.
Yeah, and you can see they're like reappearing as you hit them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, is there a reason why my level 2 is above level 3 and level 3 is above level 1?
I'm not sure. Let's look at your teams. Check that first. So level 1, level 2, level 3. What about your? Can you scroll up a bit? And let's look at the spawn locations.
Oh yeah, this spawn location needs to be moved into level 2. Alright, so this is the first spawn location. Oh no, this is the second spawn location. This this is the third spawn location. This is the first spawn location. Right.
I wonder if that's why.
Yeah, let's just try it again. Nope. Still 2, 3, 1. Ah,
3, 1. Is neutral unchecked? What about an allow team change? That's right.
and this one doesn't have it because it's the default.
And all the team colors are right. I don't know. That's it's new.
Could
Yeah,
it be
I'm not-
like to do with the leaderboard or something?
I don't think so, but maybe.
Let's go with the leader. Right, I'm just gonna go refill my water bottle. 1 second.
Oh, no problem.
Right, I'm back.
Cool, cool.
Okay. Yeah. It's not really that important, the order of the teams anyway. It's kind of odd though.
Yeah, let me know if you figure it out, though.
Um,
Okay, so we're back to this. So we've got our coins going, and that's cool. So now the only thing left that we need to do is create a teleport with the little sound. And then I would say if I could give you a certificate, I would, but I don't think I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a part, and I want to create a cylinder part. I'm going to create a part, and I'm going to move that part. So I'm going to click move. And one cool thing you can do with cylinders is you can change the orientation. So I want the cylinder to be up and down. So I want the orientation to be 90 in the Z. So I can flip it like that. And then for the size, that means I can change this to, I can make it a little bit more, oops, I think that's still, I think I can make it, let's see if, no, I think, oh yeah, so it's 4, 4, and
144.
actually I want this to be 144, yeah. Let's make this 6, 6, and we'll make it 0.3.
Okay.
And we're going to rename this part pad. Or pad, well, we'll call it pad 1. So this will be pad 1. And we'll move this like right here. So we're going to move it to like the corner. And we'll make it sure it touches. So whenever they touch this, we're going to make the player transport. So the next thing we need to do is we need to duplicate our, or we don't need to duplicate, but we need to create another base part so that we can transport over to it. So I'm going to select this, create this block, and then we're going to move this, move it
This
up,
is
out into the
a bit
middle.
above 2.5. There we go.
And we'll rename this part base. I don't know, base. Just call it base. Well, let's make the size. We're going to make the size a little bigger. So I'm going to say 30 by 30. And I'm going to make the color. And you obviously, you know, have to follow this. But yeah, I'm going to make the color like that. And then I'm going to duplicate the pad 1. So I'm going to do Command D or Control D. That'll duplicate it, but it auto created the weld. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to move it to my base. This will be like where the part will transport to. And then we'll move this up a little bit. The only thing I am going to do is make sure this part, the base, is positioned at 1 for the Y, and that the pad that I'm transporting, so position is at 2, so that everything's on the same level.
Position 1. And then position. Oops,
And
position.
I'm also going to rename this to pad 2.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a script in pad 1. So click on the plus, script, and then I'm going to rename this to teleport. And I'm going to delete this. And what we're also going to do is, and you can get into a lot of trouble with this, just to warn you, is you want to go to toolbox, and then you go into sound. But just be aware of these models. Like oftentimes there's viruses and bugs in these models because kids can generate them. So, but sounds you're not going to run into too much trouble.
You can bundle something like that in a model.
Yeah, you can do all. You can't create like a real virus, but you can create like a virus that destroys the game. If that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Oh, let's see. Where's the window? How do I
So yeah, go to home, toolbox,
home?
and
Oh, yes,
then
toolbox.
search for teleport sound. And then I'm gonna
Audio.
select probably this sound, or maybe that looks cool. So I'm gonna select this teleport sound. I'm gonna double click on it. Or no, I'm gonna drag it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna drag it in, and that just put it into the workspace. Let me delete that. But yeah, you want your sound to be at the same level as your part, or it can even be under your teleport script if you want to. But basically, you want your teleport sound to be like right here. So yeah, let me know when you have that. I know I'm not explaining that super well.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah. So we want to keep the weld on the pad. I didn't
We
catch that.
can. It doesn't really matter because it's connected to the pad. But if you want to move it around, like, it's probably better to take it out. Like,
Okay.
but for us, it
Right,
doesn't matter.
so I got the teleport sound effect under pad as well as this teleport script.
Cool. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create our player service. So I'm gonna copy that in just so that we have it, and then I'm gonna create a variable called pad1, which will be equal to script dot parent dot pad script dot parent. Yeah, that'll be equal to script dot parent. I'm going to create another variable, and I'm going to call this pad2. And this is we're going to get the part a little differently. So you can type in game dot workspace dot pad2. So that's just using the folder workspace pad2, and that'll get us access to pad2. And then we're going to say function touched, and we'll say hit part as the part that got hit. And then we're just going to go into our level, our coins, and we're going to go into touch, and we're going to copy these two lines, this player and player then. And then we're going to go back into our teleport and paste that in. So this is the little script again to make sure that a player's touching it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to say pad1 dot. So mine is right here. So if you actually put yours under the teleport script, it's actually you don't want to do that. But mine's right. My teleport sound is right under there, so I can say pad1 dot teleport teleport colon play, and that'll play the sound. Then I'm gonna wait like 4 seconds because my sound's like 4 seconds long or 5 seconds long. So I'll wait 4 seconds. And then this is really long. So it's player dot character dot humanoid root part. So that's like the root part of the character, the main part dot position. And then we're going to set that equal to pad2 dot position, which is the position of pad2. But we don't want to put it on pad2, otherwise half the player will be like in pad2.
Yeah.
And it'll get really funky. So we're just going to add 4 in the Y direction. But feel free to play around with that. And it doesn't like completely crash if it does. Like, so that should teleport us to the new part. And let me just make sure that my base part is anchored because I think I forgot to do that. And I did. So yeah, make sure your base is anchored and your pad 2 doesn't have to be anchored. So now that we have all that, I should be able to touch the teleport and land hopefully here sanely. So let's see if that works. Da-da-da. So I'm going to touch this. And oh, I bet I did something silly. So I did. So I forgot to add the event to the teleport. So that's why it's not working. So I have to say pad1 dot touched connect, and then I have to pass in my touched function. So now it should work, but it'll probably, okay, yeah. So I have it always save on play, but that's why that's working for me. So now when I go, it should teleport and do all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna click here. Cool. So it looks like there's something off with the sound, or maybe the sound just doesn't play super long.
It's telling me attempt to index nil with touched.
Let me see.
I probably just did the last line wrong.
Oh, it's
this
lowercase, yeah.
did that right.
Let's see it.
Test.
Whew. All right.
Coins. Blue. Alright, it's gone here.
Coins.
Oh, hey, it played the sound.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yay.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you so much for
Great
staying
show.
with me till the end. But that
Yeah, it was fun.
was the end. Thank you. Whew. Yeah. So Do you feel like you can teach it now, or how do you feel about Roblox? I'm gonna stop sharing.
I feel like